Drop day number 8. We are talking about 5 fresh and delicious new beers on June 7th you should come through to drink. Kubrick's Landing, Grove People, Virtuoso, Matinee Idol, and What We Will Saison, all wildly delicious. Very important. We want to talk to you in the next 10 minutes about the importance of local businesses and vendors. We're doing vendor pop-ups the second Saturday of every single month. June, that's June 15th. That's the Freshtival. You should come through. You should support all the vendors at the Freshtival, and I'll tell you why. Let's talk about small business. But first, story time. We started the company in 2010 when I was 25. I know this because I recently looked at the articles of incorporation, which are dated February of 2011, just when we officially became incorporated, and then our first sale was January 24th, 2012. So from starting the thing in 2010 to 2012, no business, just working. I started getting a paycheck at Hen House in 2014, and we hired our first employee in 2015. So I tell everybody it's 2 years to get open, 2 years to get a paycheck, and then 1 year to start having people work for you. That's a long haul. I don't bring up any of this as a humble brag, let alone a brag, more as a reflection on the relationship I've had with Hen House, which, believe me, has had its ups and its downs. Starting a business when you're young, particularly, is just lashing your ego to the mast of a ship that you're not in control of. And when it's going well, you feel like a golden god. And when it's not, you feel a type of despair and disappointment in yourself that I can only describe as cataclysmic. As we all know, after filming 2001: A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick was approached by agents of the Johnson administration and coerced into using the set and crew of 2001 to film the footage that we're supposed to blindly believe is the Apollo 11 moon landing. I'm not saying we never went to the moon. That's crazy. Just obviously not Apollo 11. That footage was all just pulled together to make the Soviets think we'd already done it and get them to bankrupt themselves. Crushed with guilt for this massive deception, Kubrick littered The Shining, his next film, with cinematic confessions to this crime, and it remains his best film to date. This IPA is made with Mosaic, Motueka, and Mandarina Bavaria hops, which means it has all of the tropical fruits: pineapple, mango, passion fruit, plus a little bit of weed in there. I think the internet has ruined many things. One of them is our perception of small business. I think everyone expects this video to be 10 ways to be just like Jeff Bezos. 3 ways that you can life hack your way to $22.7 million in the next 15 minutes. Warren Buffett's 5 keys to financial independence. And it's really not that way at all. Starting a business is deeply personal and absolutely a labor of love, passion project, whatever you want to call it. I think of it this way. Everybody is motivated by some combination of 4 things: money, creative control, public recognition, and mission. And where you rank those will kind of determine what type of work is good for you. I think that 100% of small business owners are the type of people to whom creative control is more important than money. Don't get me wrong. Tons of smart small business people making good money, running their own gig. Proud of them. You're all awesome. But I have to believe every single one of those people has career opportunities available to them to make way more money working for some faceless corporate conglomerate that no one gives a shit about. As we all know, if you go down to the woods today, you're sure for a big surprise. If you go down to the woods today, you better wear a disguise, because the private security forces made up of ex-special forces contractors guarding the place all have infrared technology, not to mention some facial recognition software we haven't even seen yet. This is The Grove, where people like Bob Oppenheimer, Bob Weir, Michael Stephen Hartman, and Dr. Michael Gantz have cloistered for over 150 years to drink, plot, and micturate unreservedly. The Manhattan Project, the Philadelphia Experiment, MK Ultra, and New Coke were all proposed at these annual gatherings. Moloch only knows what they have planned for us next. Beneath the trees, where nobody sees, they'll hide and scheme as long as they please. This is the way the Grove people have their picnic. This double IPA is made with only Simcoe hops, which means it's got a ton of grapefruit, little bit of Sunny D, and definitely candied pineapple flavors. The type of people who start small businesses are tough. They are fun to be around. They are resilient. They are smart. They know how to work things out, and they don't know when to quit. They're the people you want in your community. They're the people who see nothing and will go and turn it into something. Today, I want to talk about small business. I want to talk about the vendor markets we're doing and why we're doing them. I want to talk about how hard it is to run a small business and to grow one successfully. And I want to talk about what small businesses do for our community. I would hope that with that intro, I don't need to explain any further to you that small business is crazy important to me and to Henhouse. But small business is crazy important to me and to Henhouse. We're doing these vendor markets because we've been there before and we know how important these small businesses are to a vibrant and cool community. The people starting businesses are the people who are putting themselves all in on making this a better place to live, and we want to support them. What we're doing is second Saturday of every single month, we're going to have 4, 5, 6 vendors at one of our 3 tasting rooms, and we're going to invite everybody down, have a party, encourage you to come check out their stuff. We're talking other small businesses in town, brick and mortar, folks who are doing pop-up stuff, food vendors, artists. You can always tell a virtuoso not just by the exceptional quality of their performance, but by their taste. Prodigiously talented, yes, but more importantly, perfectly in tune with the audience in a way that the audience themselves may not be aware of or able to articulate. A true virtuoso will create new possibilities within the audience that somehow feel like they were always there. You ever try a brand new beer and think, this is exactly what I was looking for? How can you want something you've never had before? The virtuosos on our production team have looked deep within your soul, and they've created the slightly more tropical fruit-forward West Coast IPA that you so desperately needed. Cascade and Columbus for citrusy familiarity, and then Comet, Alani, and Amarillo for ripe pineapple revelations. There are a ton of different types of small business that are important to creating a cool community, and we want to be supporting all of them with our space. I will continue to remind you of the time that I put on a Santa suit to film one of these videos, but beer and breweries are social space, and they're a bedrock of how we make a community better. So inviting in the other people who are doing the same is incredibly important to us. So I want you to come to the vendor markets. Why is that so important? It is so hard to start a business. It is so hard. So hard. The first thing you need to think about when you think about a small business is that it is small. Rent as a percentage of your first sale is double what rent is as a percentage of your second sale. When you're small, everything is just trying to overcome the basic costs of running a business. The cost of the materials that you're trying to make stuff out of and sell. The cost of rent. The cost of the people you have to pay to help you out. The cost of insurance. Just all of these little things are so much bigger when you have a small number of things you're selling rather than a large number of things that you're selling. Bubbly, bright, and oh so golden, Matinee Idol is ready for its close-up. We start with a super classic Vienna lager construction, Pilsner malt, Vienna malt, a little bit of maize in there, add a dash of sea salt, and then Motueka hops. So what you're getting is that light, dry, classic Mexican lager with a little bit of lime juice hint from the Motueka, and a little bit of saltiness that brings out that corn flavor. Incredibly delicious, unspeakably delicious. Come have some. We're excited for you to try it. I feel like this is going to be one of those things that I mentioned in tons of videos, much like the internet was a mistake. Anheuser-Busch InBev, the largest brewery in the world, runs a 33% EBITDA, which is effectively a profit margin on everything that they sell. 33% of every dollar someone spends with Anheuser-Busch InBev, it's profit. That's because they've gotten to such a scale that those things that eat up every single dollar that a small business owner makes, rent, insurance, labor, those are just totally inconsequential at ABI's scale. But breweries still have to compete with ABI. Coffee companies still have to compete with Starbucks. Local garment makers still have to compete with The Gap. Part of what makes running a small business so hard is that just the gravity of being small means that your dollars get pulled in lots of directions. And then you have to compete with these unbelievable monsters that just create so much profit because of their scale. Running a small business is so hard. So hard. So, starting your own business is really, really hard. Why does anyone do it? This is a fantastic question, imaginary audience member. There are two very clear reasons to open a small business. The first is creative. Small businesses are where new cool things happen in a community. I mentioned earlier that the type of people who open small businesses are the type of people who care more about creative control than they do about money. Do you think the person who's going to open a sandwich shop cares more about money or giving you a kick-ass sandwich? Do you think the community is better for having a maximum profit sandwich shop or having a sandwich shop run on the love of sandwiches? Obviously, the correct answer is both. We want the people making awesome sandwiches to also make a decent living. But the people who are doing it for the love of sandwiches are the people who have the opportunity to do both things. The passion is so important to what makes a community good. Sandwiches is one example that's special to my heart, but that could be anything. Dog walking, gyms, coffee roasteries, upholstery businesses. There are a million different types of small businesses that contribute to your town being a fun and interesting place. And the reason that they contribute to it being a fun and cool place is that they are run by fun and cool people who care about the thing that they are doing. The second reason that small businesses are important to a local community is economic. When you spend money with a business owned by somebody who lives in the community, all the money that goes into running the business stays in the community, but also all the profit stays in the community. That business owner is able to buy a house in the community, which is good for property taxes, which is good for schools. That person is able to raise a family there. They're able to frequent other businesses in your community. That money stays locally and runs through the local community multiple times. When you spend money with a publicly traded company, the profit leaves the community. Sure, all the money required to run the local branch stays here, and that's good, and we're appreciative of that. But compared to a local business, some percentage of the money is just leaving. And if that company is really good at what they do, a big chunk of that money is leaving the community. Small businesses can't do everything. It's an impossible dream to think that we could have every community be entirely localized. That said, whenever you have the opportunity, spending money with locally owned businesses means that those locally owned businesses are going to spend that money locally. It is exponentially better for your town's economy. All of these things matter. It's not to say that we can't spend money with publicly traded companies. It's to say that where we spend our money matters, and that we need to put intentionality behind supporting the people in our community, going all in on making it a better place. The people who are really putting their whole selves into starting something, they need your support. You have to come and spend money with them. That's the only way the businesses survive. 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for what we will. This is the refrain of the international workers' rights movement that led to the implementation of the 8-hour workday and is memorialized around the world by communists in May and here in freedom-loving America in September on Labor Day. We have chosen to memorialize the struggle for workers' rights with a saison made with Lallamon's Bell yeast, which is lending some pear, whetstone, hay kind of aromas, and dry hopped with Wai-iti, which is definitely bringing that white grape juice, which is delicious. I love this beer. It's light. It's easy drinking. I highly recommend that you pair it with spending your time however the fuck you wish. If you have the bandwidth, you can extend this out as far as you want. But as a general principle, if you have a friend who owns a small business, spend money with them. Don't ask them for free things. It's insanely hard. So hard. Instead, make sure that you're prioritizing however much you can afford to support that, because those are the people you want in your community, the people who are willing to try new things, the people who are willing to build something and invest in a local community. We all want to see them do well, and the way that we can do that is making sure that we prioritize how we spend our money. I wish I had a more succinct summary here, but the people who start small businesses, the people who go all in on trying to make their community a better place, are everything. And we all owe it to them to support them just for trying.
If they happen to be the people who are the best at it in the world, which they probably are, fucking great. And if they're not, we're a community that supports people trying things. So come down on the second Saturday of every month. We're doing the vendor markets. We want to support these folks. You should support these folks. Bring cash, spend money with them, drink a beer while you're doing it, and our community will be a better place. We'll see you then.